Today I am in not so sunny Auckland with Vidcom. Vidcom is an audiovisual provider over here in New Zealand, and I've been working with Vidcom for about 12 months. We started in July last year, so about 8 months ago, taking the team through the pipeline fundamentals and selling fundamentals programs. And that was really interesting process at the time, because at the time Vidcom didn't actually have a sales pipeline process in place. So it was an opportunity to bring the whole team back to the kind of the basics and fundamental logic of a sales pipeline, so that they could go and then build their pipeline steps, their stage criteria. And before coming to Auckland 2 days ago, I got together with the team and we did a pipeline review. And what was really exciting about that review is that the team is on track to really over-deliver on their budget this year. And they're also in a really great position leading into their new financial year, which is about 4 weeks away. They're looking in a really strong position based on the opportunities in their pipeline today and being able to forecast kind of future performance, which they probably weren't able to do that well 12 months ago. So that's really good news. The session we're doing today is just a selling fundamentals recap. We've also revisited pipeline. And one of the things that we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about today is pricing objections. Now, we often have organisations ask us about, the skill associated with how you handle an objection. And so we're going to do a little bit more work with the team on that today. And it'll be interesting to see where we land with kind of practice sessions at the end of the day, because when we talk about price, we have to kind of really reflect on why are pricing objections coming up, and is there a process and a skill that the team can actually have to help minimise late stage price objections, which they're getting a bit of at the moment. So we're together for the day. We're about to kick off at 8 o'clock here this morning, finishing at about 4:15, so a full day together. I'll jump back online at the end of the session to give an update on how the day went. So I've just finished with Vidcom here in New Zealand, and as expected, we had a really good day. So we started the day talking about their sales pipeline and reflecting on their pipeline stages, and also getting really clear on what opportunities all the team were going to discuss today. So we wanted to make sure that the team were working on real opportunities in the room today. We worked through the components of selling fundamentals, and we spent quite a bit of time on this objection that's coming up a little bit at the moment around price. Now, Vidcom get a lot of inbound inquiries, and for good reason. They're really good at what they do as an audiovisual provider here in New Zealand. They've been in the marketplace for a really long time. They're a well-established brand, but they do have a lot of competition. And because the market is quite buoyant here at the moment, like a lot of places, they are under resource challenges just with the volume of work that they've got on. And so what is happening is that they can get put under pressure to quote. And when you get put under pressure to quote, it can mean that you skip a bit of selling work, because you think, well, I've just got to get the customer the quote because there's so much work on. And inevitably what that means is you skip some selling work. And when you skip some selling work, you can jump to quote too soon. And what can then happen is that you haven't built up the value of your solution, and the customer sees the price and then inevitably thinks that your quote is expensive, particularly if they've gone and got 2 or 3 quotes, from a couple of providers. So we spent quite a bit of time today talking about how you handle pricing objections. Now, there is definitely a skill to how you do that. But more importantly, I believe, is actually looking at your sales process and the steps in your pipeline and making sure that you're doing the right kinds of selling work all the way through the process. Because if you jump to quote too soon, You skip a heap of selling work, you fail to build the value of that solution, and of course, then you look expensive. So today was about, let's come back and think about what is the selling work through all of the stages that you need to go through before you quote, and how can we get better at doing that. And so we had a good discussion about that today. The team had a practice at handling an objection, and then the team also had a full end-to-end guided practice session for the real customer call plan that they completed today. So we've had a really good day. If you are in New Zealand, if you need audiovisual equipment for an event or a conference you've got coming up, contact the team at Vidcom. They're a wonderful group of people. They're really dedicated to creating great experiences for the events that they run, and I would highly recommend Vidcom in New Zealand.